Hey everyone, I'm going to end this series with this segment. Uh, you can tell it's pretty much over, but a few things I left out I think I should mention. So stick around, we'll wrap this up. I'm the Saipan Sailor, and this is Chapter 7, or Episode 7, of Fire in the Yukon, the aftermath. I want to thank everyone for sticking by me through this. I keep forgetting to mention, if you like my videos, then please subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell if you want to be notified. You know the drill. But most importantly, share it if you can. You remember in episode 2, there was a gal that I spent the night with who told me she was a naval intelligence officer. Now, I wonder what went through her head when she got the news. 'Cause I think I told her what I did and that I was on a ship. But I seen myself on the news while I was in the hotel in Waikiki. So obviously she knew I was on that ship. For the Coast Guard, some of the lower level people in the Coast Guard station, they had dinner with us a couple of nights, and we sat there at the hotel restaurant over drinks and whatever, talking. They said that they actually heard the explosion. They had submarine listeners in the water. Now, if the Coast Guard had it, I know for certain the Navy had it. Hawaii is like a hornet's nest of Navy ever since Pearl Harbor. That's like hollow, sacred ground to us sailors. Especially Navy people. I never seen that gal again, so I have no idea what she knew or thought. I think I should mention those two welders who perished. One of those guys, from my understanding, I was told that he was the boss. He owned the company, that contractor company, and I believe it was based out of Texas. He was on that ship because the fella that was there uh, had cut his forearm with a grinder by accident. It was a pretty deep cut, so he had to go home and convalesce. They sent him home, and his boss replaced him. Now, I yammed with that fella up in Alaska a couple of times. He's a pretty good guy. So I can't imagine what he was thinking when he got the news. When I was talking to my father on the phone in California, he told me something interesting. He said the company called him that night, and they said, there's been an accident. We're not sure of the details. We know that 4 people had died, but we don't know who. And we will call you as soon as we get an update. He said he stayed up the entire night and into the late hours of the next morning. The call didn't come. So he called the company and they said, oh, yeah, your son is fine. He's on a German container ship headed for Japan right now. Now, even to this day, that irritates me. Okay? How irresponsible and unprofessional these people were to make my father stay up all night, wondering if his only child was still alive. It's unbelievable. I did run into a few of those guys that was on that ship. In fact, I think it was the later part of 1986. I was on the Brooks Range or the Thompson Pass. I think it was the Brooks Range with one of the engineers, that third assistant, who had gotten into the lifeboat with me that day, and we brought it forward with me. He got on with his life. He moved on. My watch partner, that first assistant engineer, he resurfaced again almost 20 years later, in 2005, and we sailed together on either the Cape Island or the Cape Intrepid. I think it was the Cape Intrepid. I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was introduced to somebody on Facebook. The person that introduced us said, this guy's a captain, ship's captain. I don't know what company he worked for, but they said he was an ordinary seaman on that ship. Now, there were 3 ordinaries on there, and I'm sure he wasn't the tall, skinny, blonde-headed kid from Seattle that was with me that night at the club. He was somebody that I didn't really know. So we chatted a little bit on Facebook, he and I. But we couldn't remember each other. He couldn't remember me. I couldn't remember him. And although that's understandable, and I was happy for him that he made it to the top, that he was a captain now, but it's just, the more I think about it, the stranger it seems that, 2 people spent the night together on a lifeboat, and they can't remember each other. After viewing episode 6, I got a message from a friend of mine asking me, well, what happened to the ship? And I was going to talk about that, but I kept forgetting to. Whenever something out at sea is abandoned, it's up for grabs. Finders keepers. First come, first get. Well, that ship was claimed by a Japanese salvage company, I guess. And they towed her into Japan, somewhere in Japan. And I was told that while they were salvaging that ship and cutting her up, somebody had went on board to look around. I don't know who it was, whether he was an inspector or who he was, or an investigator, I don't know. But I heard the guy had said that he walked back aft, below the deck, behind the boiler, okay? That area back there is we call it the lazarette, you'll find the rope blocker back there. If they've got capstan winches or winches below the deck, you'll find them down there. And then maybe some hydraulic machinery. There'll be maybe some workbenches, maybe a carpenter shop. But they had storerooms, store cages for engine room supplies, the piping or stock or sheet metal or gas material, all that stuff will be back there. And the guy said that when he went back there and looked, it was all gone. It was just melted. You could tell it just melted down, every bit of it. I remember when we drifted away from the ship in that lifeboat, looking at the hull of the ship on the starboard side where the tank was, where the two seams were, okay, and in between the two seams, that paint had just turned to ash. It was gray. So the hull of the ship actually got red hot, hot enough to burn the paint right off of it, practically. I can't really think of much else. The older I get, the less I remember. I mean, I had to clear away a lot of cobwebs in order to tell the story. I could finally get some closure on it. And I want to thank everyone again for staying with me here. There'll be other stories, I think. I'm not sure what, I might make some changes to my platform here. I don't know what I'm going to do next. But until then, I am the Saipan Sailor. And I wish you all clear skies and calm seas. Close your eyes.